Tech Table. Tech Table. Tech Table.
Hello and welcome to the Tech Table, the theatre staff and technical workers podcast, the podcast in which I talk to people who work in the technical side of the industry about how they got in, their experiences and any advice they can give to anyone getting in. This is episode 3 of season 5. Thank you for the downloads for episodes 1 and 2 and of course the rest of the archive we have. It's been brilliant downloads. We've had some great reviews. We've got some great feedback from people. If you want to get in touch, all the socials are Tech Table Pod. That's Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, and we have some YouTube content coming up soon. If you want to get in touch via email, it is techtablepod@gmail.com. Big thank you to everybody who's involved in the podcast right now, especially Stage Electrics, who provided me with this lovely podcast microphone. It's been really great and it sounds lovely. Thank you so much, like I said, to everybody who's downloaded and all the comments we've been having. It's been fantastic and long may it continue. So without further ado, let's see who is at the tech table with me today. I'm here with my guest this time. If you'd like to introduce yourself and tell me what your current job title is.
Of course. My name is Elysia. I work for the Association of British Theatre Technicians, or the ABTT, as most people know it by. And my job title is the ABTT Events and Association Manager, which is a bit of a mouthful.
Excellent. And what does that entail?
So the main part of my role, especially at the moment, is directing the ABTT Theatre Show, which is an annual event which runs in June every year, which is kind of an exhibition specifically for those who are interested in backstage theatre and live events. But separate to that, I also manage the ABTT Association as a whole. So we do things like training, we do other events throughout the year, we do seminars, guidance notes, health and safety, all sorts. So kind of a lot of different things throughout the year that I'll be assisting with the ABTT.
Excellent. So a lot of work then. How did you get into this side of the industry?
So it was a bit of a strange one. I mean, I worked prior to working for the ABTT, and I've been with the ABTT now for about 8 years, I think. I came out of university where I'd done theatre, not backstage theatre. I wasn't acting, but I was kind of reviewing the texts and things like that, which kind of the literature side, which I loved, and went into odd jobs, if I'm being honest. So I worked in pubs for a couple of years and kind of did event management for some of them. I worked at a university doing kind of helping people get into training courses to help them get into the roles that they were interested in, which is quite ironic because I was working in a role that I didn't want to technically be doing. I wanted to be doing something adjacent to theatre. And then I stumbled onto an advert for an administrator for the ABTT. And I started in that role and have grown since then. They've been very good at allowing me to kind of go in the direction that I wanted to go in and helped me to get to the position that I'm in now.
Excellent. Where did you train?
So I went to Queen Mary University in London.
Oh, in London. Okay. Excellent. So when you came out of university, did you actively look for work within the theatre industry, or was it just not a thing that you were...
Yeah, no, I did. But frustratingly, when I was kind of going through school, I wasn't really exposed to the backstage elements of theatre at all.
Right, okay.
It was something in kind of where I was growing up. It was not something that people did. Going into theatre was not a job. It wasn't something that people did as a career. And I kind of went against that and obviously went to university and did theatre. But even at the end of that, my degree was not around what job roles were out there at the end of it.
Right.
So I struggled quite a bit when I came out, which is why I'm enjoying my role at the ABTT so much now, because I've got the opportunity to help people who are in that position to
Yes.
actually understand the breadth of the industry and realize how many job roles there are. It's not just actors.
Absolutely, yeah.
They are minuscule in comparison to
Yes,
all of the other backstage
there is
roles that are out there.
They're a small cog in a much larger machine.
Exactly.
Yes. So what led you then to the events management side of it? Was that just the work in the pubs, finding venues that sort of did that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been kind of very proactive in it. I've always been very social. I've always been very kind of event led in everything that I've done in any of my roles. And then when I kind of joined the ABTT and we were doing kind of backstage tours, I'd asked at that point to see if I could start arranging those, and then it kind of led on from there. We were doing the theatre show. We now do the Make a Difference conference.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent. So when did you join the ABTT?
That is something that I should know off the top of my head, and yet I don't. I want to say 2018? 2018, maybe 2017. I'd have to double check. That's awful that I don't remember.
Well, it's because time just flies by, doesn't it?
It does.
So, what was the first? What was the first event that you were involved in when you joined the ABTT? Do you remember
that? Yeah, I do. So I joined in right at the beginning of September of whichever year it was that I joined, and we had our our conference called the International. It's called ITAC, which is a conference for kind of theatre, engineering, architecture.
Right.
And I was thrown in the deep end. I think I must have been in the role a week when that event took place, and we had people coming from all over the world to come and learn about theatre and architecture and engineering in central London. And I'd never been to an ITAC conference before. I had not experienced a conference on that scale before, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was working on the back end, so kind of getting people through and onto the stage, making sure that we had all of the speakers in the right spaces, that the technicians had the equipment that they needed. And I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. It was my first experience of kind of the back end of an event like that. And yeah, it's kind of grown from there.
It's an unusual thing that you don't really think about. Like you say, working backstage in a theatre is not really something that is or was a thing to you. I mean, when I first started, it was it never even occurred to me that it was a job that you could do. But I think doing architecture within theatre, I think, is not really a thing that people think about. But obviously, theatres are designed a certain way, and different designers design things different ways. And the architecture of theatres in this country is so massive, but also so different, and it's really quite an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, and there's such a breadth to architecture as a whole. You've then got to think about how the audio is working within those spaces, how people are getting into the spaces for the get-ins and the get-outs, as well as the audience members. So it was a real eye-opener hearing kind of all of the technical side of how these buildings were created and all of the thought processes and all of the jobs and the people that have to be consulted to get these buildings made, and also to restructure them as well, because we've got so many theatres which have been around for years that don't necessarily allow for everybody to now get into them.
Yes.
We need to make sure that they're accessible. So there's a lot of that as well.
And of course, you've got a lot of theatres in London, like at Shaftesbury Avenue, and you've got 4 or 5 theatres right next to each other. So that the logistics of all that is quite crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Excellent. So let's move on to the theatre show that you basically organise right now. When was the first one you organised?
So I took over the theatre show just after COVID. So the first one that I ran was in 2022.
Right.
So this is going to be my 4th year doing it. It's also the 45th anniversary of the ABTT theatre show this year. So yeah.
So you were at the ABTT when before COVID. So you saw how it would have changed from before COVID to during. Obviously, I'm assuming it didn't happen in 2020, but in 2021 it might have. Did it happen in 2021?
No. So we had kind of a joint thing with Plaza
right
at that point, but we didn't run the ABTT Theatre Show in the way that it's currently known in that year.
So 22 was the first one. Would you still have had social distancing then on your first one?
So we had social distancing had stopped at that point, but we were still having people in masks. We were obviously still making sure that we had disinfectant and things like that.
Yeah.
But it was the first one. It was one of the first big events for the industry coming back kind of post-COVID. And it was interesting kind of reviewing how the event had worked pre-COVID and how we could get that kind of set back up and encourage people. You know, it was a big thing going back and doing an exhibition right after you've been told to stay at home for basically 2 years and stay away from people. But our industry is fantastic. We've got such an amazing community. We did have the engagement from both the theatres and the suppliers and kind of technicians and people as a whole coming along. So the 2022 edition happened, and we've kind of grown from there and seen how we can help use the ABTT to kind of build the industry back kind of post-COVID as well.
Excellent. So what initiatives did you bring in personally into the theatre show?
So since I took over in 2022, there's been a couple of things. So when we obviously came back in 2022, there was a huge issue around kind of retention within the industry. There was an issue with the fact that we had lost so many amazing technicians during that time as well. So kind of building the industry back. So one of the first things that we did was introduce our careers and professional development hub at the ABTT Theatre Show. So this was something both for new entrants to be able to take advantage of, but also people who were looking for a career change. Yeah. We had a number of, we had quite a few people coming along that had done something completely separate, coming to see whether or not they would be able to make that change and move into the industry. So there's a lovely video on the ABTC website of a woman called Jo who'd come along, who was a bit nervous about moving into the industry, and we were able to get her in contact with some relevant people, got her into the industry. She now is working in backstage theatre and live events and comes to the ABTT Theatre Show each year, so it's always lovely to see her. So that's kind of the first initiative that we did. And then kind of moving on from that in 2023, I started bringing in hands-on kind of skills workshops as well, to try and make people aware of the breadth of the roles in the industry, because we were getting a lot more. We kind of done quite a lot of marketing around getting young people to the event, making sure that they understood that there were jobs available in theatre. So having these kind of skills workshops where we were teaching them, you know, practical skills that they were going away with, but also knowledge about what roles they would be using, has been quite popular as well. So they're the two key things I would say that have changed. Excellent.
And so what is new this year? Is there a show floor challenge I read?
Yes. And that was actually done in combination with Mig, who was your guest, I think, two episodes ago. So yes, we are introducing the ABTT Show Floor Challenge. So this is going to be a opportunity to kind of break the ice with exhibitors. So if you are hesitant about going up to stands and talking to new people, it's a great way to be able to engage with them. So when you kind of come to the ABTT Theatre Show and you register at the front desk, you'll be given the opportunity to pick up a sheet which has got a load of questions on it from different exhibitors on the show floor. And you can go and find out the answers to these questions.
So that starts the conversation.
Exactly. Starts the conversation. It means that they're expecting you to come and talk to them. Yeah. You feel a bit more confident about asking. And hopefully it will kind of encourage a bit more networking and engagement with a variety of exhibitors as well. And the benefit at the end of it, other than the networking, is you can post your answers at the ABTT stand and be in with the chance of winning a swag bag, which will have
excellent.
swag from all of the exhibitors that have been involved.
Oh, I might do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've had a look at the list of things that's going to be in the swag bag. It's going to be a good one.
Brilliant. And there's also let me just read this. Remind people that it's not just for kids, it's for everybody who wants to be involved.
Oh, yes, it is. It is. So it's not just aimed at kind of new entrants or students. It's for anybody at all. I mean, Mig was very engaged with this particular thing because she herself can find it quite overwhelming on the show floor. There's a lot of people there. There's a lot of stands. There's a lot of people that want to talk to you. Having something that kind of is giving you a bit of structure to the day, something which is encouraging you with a set question, I think she found quite comforting. So she was very, very much on board with reiterating it's not just for young people, it is for anybody at all.
And you can ask the experts anything.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Excellent. And when is the theatre show? Let's put that out.
So it is running on the 4th and 5th of June at Alexandra Palace in London.
And I believe I'm going to be there.
I should hope so.
So that should be good fun. Excellent. And so to finish up, what advice would you give to anybody who's trying to get into the industry?
I would say that the best way to get into the industry is to make connections. And coming along to events like the ABTT Theatre Show or similar is giving you the opportunity to engage with a real variety of people and get an understanding of the breadth of the industry, the different routes you can get into. I mean, we will have schools on the show floor. We will have people offering apprenticeships, training courses, and companies that will be looking for people to take on roles. So there's huge opportunity at events like this. So if you are free and able to come along, I would highly recommend it.
Excellent. Brilliant. And that's everything I've got. So thank you so much for joining me.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. A big thank you to Elysia there. She's very passionate, Elysia, about the ABTT Theatre Show. So if you are free on the 4th or 5th of June, get yourself down to the Alexandra Palace for the theatre show. It's going to be a great time. Like I said, I'm going to be there. There's going to be so many different companies there, so many people to talk to. So if you are interested in getting into theatre, or even if you're just interested in theatre in general, get yourselves down there. Thank you once again for the listens. Tech Table Pod is all the socials: Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, and YouTube. If you want to get in touch via the email, it's techtablepod@gmail.com. Big thank you to my executive producers, Mig and G from the Guildford School of Acting, for their continued support, and for this fantastic microphone from Stage Electrics, which makes me sound awesome. And that's it. So thank you so much, like I said, once again, for the downloads. Thank you for the comments. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody you know who's interested in theatre, and those who aren't interested in theatre, because it might make them interested in theatre. Get yourselves down to the Alexandra Palace on the 4th and 5th of June for the ABTT Theatre Show. And until then, I shall see you all next week.